My name's Aaron Cairo. I'm a sponsored skateboarder from the San Francisco Bay Area, and today I'm going to teach you how to do a frontside 180. The frontside 180 is a great trick. Make sure that you have your ollies down prior to starting this, and then we're going to start with the foot position. Your front foot is just like that. It's very similar to the ollie position with your front foot. Toes are hanging off just a little bit. And then your back foot is going to be in that back pocket. That's the difference between the frontside 180 and ollie position. Great. So the practice step that I want you to do is really similar to the ollie. If you have all the ollie steps down, that's perfect. The first step is just tapping your tail, then dragging your front foot. And then the only difference is this one right here. Check out the wind up of my head and shoulders. The frontside 180 is all about doing an ollie while you turn your head and shoulders prior to that pop, and then you can turn your board in the air. I'll give you a couple different variations so you can see how it works and see how it goes, but I really wanted to show you this. See how I wind up my head and shoulders, then I throw my arms, throw my head and shoulders, and then I do that practice step with my front foot. If you see that, just drag that front foot up there. Very, very good. If you get this practice step down, you're going to have no problem. Okay, so this is a variation of the frontside 180. I really wanted to show you this because it shows you the pivot point. So I'm going to pop up, and then I'm going to land on the nose. This is basically, I'm just doing a straight ollie, and then I'm going to land on the nose, and I'm going to pivot a frontside 180. Now, a lot of beginning skateboarders find that this is harder, so you don't necessarily need to learn it like this. It'll probably be easier to just do the full 180. But I wanted to show you this because it really shows you where your weight distribution should go. So when you're first starting and you're popping, you want to pop off of your back foot, and then when you land, all of your weight, and I mean all of your weight, is on your front foot. So whether you want to do the frontside 180 where you pivot like that one that I just showed you, or you want to do it all in the air, you should be thinking with that weight distribution. So here we go. I'll show you another one where I sort of do a 90-degree turn in the air and then I turn. So if at any point in time you're ever having a hard time getting the full rotation of the 180 down, think with this little method right here. So look at that. I pop the board up, then I'm turning 90 degrees, and then I'm going to land with all of my weight on the front foot right there. See that? All of the weight is focused right there, and then I just turn and pivot, and then I do that full 180, and then I put that back foot forward. Ideally, you pop it all the way up and you land it all the way in the air, but anything short of that, it's really good to understand that you can pop the board, you can land on the nose, and then you can still pivot that around. Okay, great. So here's another person I met at the skate park. I wanted to show you this attempt, this frontside 180 right here. He's winding up his shoulders. He's throwing it over. And I noticed how he's turning his head and shoulders before he pops. Now he's starting to turn, pop the board. The board is already almost going 90 degrees before he even pops. And then throws the 180 around, gets that back foot in front of that front foot, and lands. I feel like this slow motion is so good because you can really see what is happening. Pay close attention to the head and shoulders. Pay close attention to each foot separately. You can really work out what is occurring there. One thing that's good about these videos is you guys can take your own videos of your own frontside 180, and then you can play them next to this. So you can look at your frontside 180, then look at this video and repeat it back and forth. And that will help you really work out. Are you not turning your head and shoulders enough? Are you not putting your back foot in the right position? Is your front foot not popping enough? Okay, so check out this wind up. Super extreme wind up. I'm trying to do it a little bit even over extreme just to show you how it's looking. And now watch my left arm come around. My upper shoulders and my body is turning. And now I'm starting to jump up in the air. It is important that you jump full 180, full ollie. So pop it up. And then you see I drag my front foot up. And right there, I'm in the 90 position. You can see my head and shoulders are still turning. And then my back foot comes forward. and I land and do the 180. I think the best way to think of this is doing an ollie in the air and then turning the 180. So, okay, let's check this out. We're going to watch each foot separately, the front foot starting. So I'm just drag it up just like an ollie, but I am turning it over, turning it around, and then my front foot is going to carry forward on that board. You want to keep your front foot as close to the board the whole time. You really need to get that drag. Good suede shoes will help, but also just really, really mastering your ollies is going to help a lot so much. Okay, now let's check out that back foot. See how it's perched in that back little pocket of the tail? That really helps because as I drag that front foot up, it's now going to push forward. My back foot is going to push forward, and that's going to keep that tail rotating until that full 180 is complete. And then I put the landing gear down. That's another good example. That shot right there is how close you want to keep your feet to that board. It's so important because if your feet ever leave that board, that's when it's going to have problems. You can over rotate. The board can go primo. Okay, so here we go. Back foot. Pop it up. Just dragging it forward just like that. And then you're going to put that back foot onto the ground, land, and roll away. Another question that I get a lot also is like, Aaron, should I do this rolling? Should I do it standing still? Oftentimes the 180s are easier rolling, but I would start it just getting the motions down. I would start it totally still. Do all the practice steps. The practice step of the ollie where you're just popping it, and then do it where you pop it and then you throw your head and shoulders. Obviously, that practice step, you've got to do it still. And then you can start practicing the 180s. It might be a little bit difficult at first for you to get the full rotation. You might need to work on that a bit. But yeah, standing still is totally fine. And then once you start moving with it, it's really good to understand the pivot point that I went over earlier in the video. But I think that when you're rolling, you have a little bit of momentum. And when you land and your front foot is on the weight is on the front foot, it's easier to get that pivot. It's easier to slide those wheels and get that little sound. But as a beginner skater, these are the things that you want to work on, and it'll help you a lot. So another thing is, before you even get into doing any tricks at all, like if you're watching this video and you are not really well grounded just in skating, just in riding around, definitely go back and just get really good at riding around. Actually, there's a whole series that's called Skateboarding Made Simple Volume 0. It is available as a free digital download, and that will take you through a ton of practice steps to just help you get very comfortable on the skateboard, period. And then from there, you can start working on your ollies, frontside 180s. Ollies and frontside 180s would be your next trick. Okay, so check out this head and shoulders, full body shot. This really shows the full enchilada. Now my left hand is coming forward, and about right there, you see my head and shoulders are turned 90 degrees. Then the board pops up. I drag my front foot and push my front knee to the side, causing it to do that 180 rotation. And now it's going to go around, and then it's going to land, and there you go. Bada boom, bada bing. That is the 180 right then and right there. So this trick will require a lot of practice. It will require trial and error. The most common thing that I see people doing when they send me the skate support videos is they're not turning their head and shoulders enough. It's really a very common one. So if you do an ollie and you just try and turn your legs, you're never going to get the full 180 rotation. It's going to be really difficult. It'll almost feel like your legs are sort of like crossing up and you're getting stuck. So it's very, very important. It's actually vital that you do turn those head and shoulders. You throw your shoulders. Okay, so here I'm going to show you a practice step you can do without the board at all. And I think this is good just to get the momentum, to get the motion, get the feeling of your feet, your shoulders, your head, how it's turning. So watch this. Here I go. I throw my arms. And then right about there is when the board would start to pop. Notice my shoulders are opening up at a 90-degree angle to where the board would be. And then you're dragging that front foot up, and then your back foot comes up and goes around. Again, and one thing I don't totally cover in all my videos enough is the necessity to jump. People are always saying, Aaron, you need to say to jump more. Well, that is very true. It is an ollie. You definitely need to jump. So you're going to pop off of that back foot, drag that front foot forward, make sure that ollie is fully up and into the air, and then you're going to start turning around. So here we go. Throw my head and shoulders up, and here we go on the pop. This is over the skateboard, obviously. So right there, it looks like just a normal ollie. But if you were to see my head and shoulders, I would be really cranked. So right there, it's going up. And then because my head and shoulders are so turned, that allows my feet to turn. Then I'm going to put the landing gear down. I'm going to land and roll away switch. That's the other thing you can get comfortable riding switch. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you're out there learning how to skate. Have a blast.